Okay, so I'm driving home. Not anymore. I pulled into a parking lot. Oh my goodness, look at these bald spots. I know I sound insecure, but it is a complete shock to me. So every time I see it, I'm like in a state of shock. um, so much of it fell out, and I had some like really thick hair. So, anyways, the voices in my head are. What's so weird is that they always tell me that they're the reason my ex-husband and I argue, or they're the reason, like they get in his head, like they get in mine, and they implant these thoughts, and they stir up his feelings like they do. Excuse me. They do me on occasion. I mean, I'm in control, but I'll cry because it's overwhelmingly depressing. I'm not of a violent nature, as you can tell. I'd prefer to make videos and let everyone know what's on my mind. So if ever I sound, or I'm anywhere and people see me and they know immediately to call 911. Like if I'm like out of control being weird. Not clearly I'm saying you, in those instances it's not fun. There's a possibility I'm actually having an episode. Some people kind of just clown around for fun. So just to clear that up, I have no problem explaining what I'm going through. But anyways, so I'm driving and they're like, oh, we're responsible for the thoughts that we implant in your ex-husband's head. And as I'm driving home, they're saying like verbatim things I've heard my ex-husband say when we're arguing. And it's like things that like, it's just like, it's just weird. So as a couple, you should, and I mean, this could be just me, but your finances, if you're in like, I don't know, you can't agree on who's going to pick up the kids or stay with them over the weekend, and you both have plans, okay? And in which case, we've decided on him, but he's adamant about going, and instead of arguing it out with me, he'll drag my mom into it. And then it's like, so the voices in my head keep saying, oh, we're going to drag your mom into it. Oh, we're going to drag your auntie into it. Oh, it is this identical same thing. And not that he would say I'm going to drag them in it, but, his intentions weren't to be abusive or to take advantage. He just felt like they were his family as well. But it used to irk me still, because I should be his first point of contact. If I say no, and him and I have already come to an agreement, and there's really, I obviously cannot go back on my plans or whatever we had initially discussed, then it is what it is. We're adults. And, to leave my, whoever it is, out of it. And this is just an example. And so, that would, of course, would stir up an argument between me and my mom, because my mom loves my kids and she doesn't mind doing it. And she'd be like, Michael just called me, for example, and he needs me to do this and that. And, he's saying that you're, gonna go out with your friends. And I'm like, well, Michael and I had agreed on that. And he told me that he would stay home for the evening or whatever. And then she's like, okay, I'll go get the kids, but she's tired. She's overworked, she's exhausted, and she genuinely needs a break. So it's like, now I'm feeling guilty. Now she's feeling, and she wants me to step in and say, okay, Mom, I'll take them, because she didn't have the heart to tell Michael no. And so I'm like, okay, and then it starts an argument between him and I. So the voices in my head are sitting here saying, haha, we'll have your ex-husband do such and such. We'll have him call your mom. We'll have him call your aunties. We'll have him, they said they'll have him abuse Leah, my daughter. Because the voices in my head are insisting that I do not mention that I can hear voices in my head that are not at all in my surrounding. I will sit here, I can place my phone down, I can let you hear what is going on in the background, and let's say we both wanted to see if what you heard and what I hear in my head is actually on the record. And let's say we both submit like how you switch, notes or whatnot to see, like in little games and stuff, to see if, in fact, they match or they're different. Well, I'd be glad to say this is exactly what I heard in my head, and they can write exactly what they heard, and we can, and why would I lie? For 3 or 4 years of my life, I moved to four different, places. I moved from one apartment to the other. I was kicked out of 2 because I was accusing my neighbors, who I thought were the voices in my head, of stalking me, and then I called the cops. I called the police over 300 times. I actually requested those records, so I have them on file. And not to mention, and this might sound like it sounds crazy, but I called them so much. Orange County Sheriff's Department actually knows me by name. They know when they see me on, like in my car, they know me. So, and I'm not at all afraid they know. They wanted to send the crisis assessment team on several occasions, but I was swearing up and down it was something else. Until I finally discovered, like, oh my gosh, everybody wasn't, like, no one was lying to me. This is really in my head. They sound so flippin' real. So, yeah, I know it sounds weird, but really, honestly, though, they're saying verbatim things I've heard Michael say, and they're like, guess what? We're the reason why he did that. I find that so weird. I find it weird. I don't care how weird I sound. I don't care if I don't get anyone to look at my videos anymore because I'm so crazy. I'm going to discuss this till the death of it. Yeah. So they keep saying that they're going to drag people into it and make my life a living hell. And I was at work, mind you. I left the office at 7. And all day, I actually posted a video earlier today about how they were trying to drag me up out of work by making me so uncomfortable, like wanting to scream. I wanted to scream because the talking was excessive. I was losing focus. And it's somebody like sitting there saying, your daughter's this, or she's struggling because of you, or, your son isn't as social because of you, or and it's like all day this poking at my emotions and my feelings, at things that obviously matter to me. And so, yeah, I had already mentioned that earlier. So I was at work and it was like, okay, get the F out of your office now. We're done talking. You didn't accomplish anything today. Again, ha ha ha. stuff, things that just are, I mean, I accomplish, what I can. And I definitely, if there are deadlines, that absolutely will be getting done. But in terms of my marketing or goals that I've set for myself, sometimes I move a little slower, or other things come up, so I kind of put them on the back burner, and especially on days where voices are more excessive, I may not be as productive as I used to be, but I forgive myself for that. I'm suffering from schizophrenia, for God's sake. It is actually, it's such a severe condition, and it makes you so vulnerable. And I'm so fortunate for where I work, because I can say I'm schizophrenic, or I can be there and they all know I have schizophrenia and they don't treat me any differently. I mean, with some leniency, yes, but in regards to making me feel like a weirdo, or for talking to myself excessively at times, or spacing out, they're just patient with me. So I am so fortunate in that sense. But however, it's the voices that are just like, they're weird. And all they keep saying is, we're going to age you. Haha. We made your hair fall out. Haha. We're going to keep talking in your head using this telepathy weapon. They're like, we're terrorists and we're human trafficking using this mind control, mind reading telepathy weapon. They say it every day. They say they're U.S. citizens, born U.S. citizens, some of which, because I hear several voices, some of which born and raised in the U.S., and the others born, possibly raised in Egypt, maybe came out here when they were much younger. But yeah, just, they keep saying they're Egyptian, like myself. They speak the same dialect of Arabic as I do. They sound like they're in their 40s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. They always say they use voice changers, though, because on occasion it does sound like 20-year-olds. And I'm like, who in God's name would have given permissions to a 20-year-old to use a telepathy weapon? Are they out of their freaking minds? 20-year-olds think everything's fun. So yeah, here again, to sound as crazy as possible, not intentionally, but knowing it sounds crazy and still insisting that I make these videos, because no one's speaking up about what they hear in their voices. No one from my community really wants to say, hey, my voices keep saying they're murderers. Hey, my voices keep saying they want me to commit suicide. Hey, my voices keep saying they want my kids to die. Hey, the voices in my head keep saying they want to watch kids die. They don't want to mention any of it. Now, I don't have any problems. I've had the police. I see the doctor. My kids are completely comfortable, and I have never felt the urge, but it's what I'm hearing. It is actually what I hear. And it's so disturbing that I will break down and cry. And cry, because I'm like, they sound like they're real people, and they're after me and my family, not like it's me who wants to hurt my family. Yeah. Okay, so this rant went on for much longer than I had expected, but yeah, so they're really sounding much more like my ex-husband today, and I just find that interesting. I just wanted to put that out there. I don't know, these videos for me are just, they're markers of important important